recently emerged that the newly appointed head of America's National Public Radio hates the American Constitution. Speaking in 2021, Catherine Meyer described the First Amendment, which safeguards free speech, as a challenge. How could it be that the head of America's public broadcasting service, established by an act of Congress, has such contempt for the US Constitution? Catherine Meyer previously ran Wikipedia, the online encyclopedia. There she abandoned the principle of a free and open internet. Such principles are, in her words, a white male westernized construct. Catherine Meyer apparently supports efforts to censor opinions that don't conform with her leftist worldview. She's spoken of truth as being a mere distraction. Catherine Meyer is not a one-off. She's actually fairly typical of the sort of people now running many of America's institutions, HR departments, government agencies, and yes, public universities. Ms. Meyer's social media posts might read like parody, but there's nothing funny about the way people with Mrs. Meyer's outlook and opinions are subverting America's founding principles and replacing them with a grim leftist dogma that risks destroying America and the West. Conservatives need to push back. But how? Until now, many conservatives have been better at identifying the problem than at tackling it. To defeat diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, we need to pass laws, reform institutions, appoint the right people, and set the right incentives. But most of all, we need to counter bad ideas with good ideas. 2 years ago, the Mississippi Center for Public Policy led a successful campaign for a bill to combat critical race theory here in Mississippi. The new law goes some way to addressing the issue, but not far enough. If we're serious about restricting DEI dogma, we need to ensure that your tax dollars cannot be spent promoting this divisive ideology. Mississippi Center for Public Policy has been advocating for legislation to prevent tax dollars being spent on DEI programs here in Mississippi. Florida's Governor, Ron DeSantis, has shown that states can take a lead against DEI, signing an executive order restricting the use of public money for DEI programs. State leaders in Oklahoma, Utah, Texas have all done something similar. We need to see similar action, not just here in Mississippi, but in every US state. Did you know that some of our public universities use your tax dollars to promote DEI programs, to teach this nonsense to young people? One of our leading public universities here in Mississippi has an institutional diversity, equity, and inclusion plan governing every aspect of campus life. DEI shapes not only university admissions, administration, and faculty hiring, but what young people are taught, with the development of an academic equity scorecard. Sunlight is the best disinfectant, and that's why we're working energetically to expose how much of your tax dollars are being spent on DEI programs in this state. Instead of more DEI hires, the University of Florida recently decided to eliminate all DEI employees' positions altogether. Last month, the University of Texas in Austin fired dozens of employees who used to work in DEI programs. Mississippi and other states need to follow suit. The best way to defeat bad ideas, of course, is with good ideas. We need to teach young people the following truths about America. Number one, we need to teach them America is built on liberty. This country got started because people living in former British colonies had had enough of being bossed about by a British king. 2, the US Constitution is one of the best systems of government in the world. People need to know that. 3, America is a force for good in the world. On 3 occasions, World War I, World War II, and the Cold War, the United States intervened to save the free world. 4thly, Americans are remarkably inventive. From the first flight to the advent of the iPhone, there's one country that stands out as extraordinarily inventive. It's the USA. 5thly, we need to teach people that Judeo-Christian principles have shaped America. It is a critical inheritance. A generation ago, the conservative movement focused on things like tax cuts and red tape reduction. Don't get me wrong, those things are still incredibly important, but we need to ensure that we're also promoting America's founding principles. This is a fight we can win. One day we will look back and think it absurd that someone with Catherine Meyer's outlook could be put in charge of producing public service broadcasting content. But there's so much we're going to have to do to get there.